Welcome back to the camp for river crossing. After Bull Run, we need to expand the army a bit. So points are going into AO, get us up to 15 brigades. You can bring 14 to river crossing in the mod. As a general comment, the mod has changed the deployment sizes so that you basically get an extra unit per division. This helps make up for the lack of detached skirmishers that you would normally have. So I think I'm basically just going to dump veterans into these guys. I want to get them a little closer to... I want to eventually get them to 2-star. Could just do like 5,000, but I think I'm just going to spend the extra money to get them there. I probably should have done that in the last battles, but I think I was short on money, so I don't think I would have been able to afford it. So now I'm just going to do it. I swapped out the guns here so that I had enough that so it doesn't, this cost doesn't get influenced by having to buy guns. So now we can go in here. 266. So we need 134. And we'll do the same thing here and set them all the way up. A little cheaper for these guys because they have better XP. Maybe we can get this unit to 2-star. I'm not sure. The opportunities for kills for these guys are a lot smaller in the 2 side battles coming up. We're going to need to, we want to swap the generals back out so that we get the accuracy bonus. In terms of officers, we're going to buy this general. It's very expensive, but we aren't going to be able to push the econ up before we need to buy him, and we want to buy him so that we can buff a unit up to 1-star immediately, and he's also going to be our best chance at getting a major general right away. And as an added bonus, after we do that, we assign all the generals to units. Then so if we make sure he's gone and both of these guys are assigned, then we get a 0 XP brigadier general when we create this corps, but we don't need to do that yet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my goal is going to be to set up several new artillery units and then a couple new infantry units. Oops, not the siege. Alright, we'll go buy the guns first. So I'm going to buy the James. 20 pounders. 24 pounders. We'll save these for later because we aren't going to be able to field them. We're also going to grab the 24-pound howitzers. This is not a great deal in terms of cash, but because in the mod, since rifles are so much more expensive, like this is something like 130k, so it's a much better deal than this. Lenses, because their imports are a bit overpriced, stat-wise they aren't actually that great, but I'll probably end up using them just because it's going to be too long until I can sell them for a reasonable amount. But the other thing is officers are much more useful, not necessarily in their per dollar cost, but in that these guys are pretty highly ranked, usually pretty high experience, and they let you get more perks, so that can be worth quite a lot. But for now, we're just going to take the... Actually, I was just going to take the 24-pounders. But I think if I take one of these guys, it's going to net me an extra unit with a perk. So I'm probably actually going to do that, but I'm going to move some stuff around first just to see. So we've got these two. Actually, can I replace you? We don't really want to do that if we can avoid it. I'll give them some of our worst colonels. Okay, that's good. We'll put our worst lieutenant colonel here. Create some artillery next. So we're going to swap these Napoleons out for the James. This is our first long-distance battery, and we can set up our first 20-pounder battery. And on top of that, actually, okay, 24-pounders here, 6-pounders, yeah, and then we're going to have one more to use up the last 24-pounders. Actually, we're going to swap the officer out. And we're going to make our first skirmisher unit because we don't have a whole lot of scoped rifles. Oops, I haven't bought those yet. Don't have a whole lot of scoped rifles, but we'll have enough to put a unit together. And even though they're going to be small, they should prove pretty useful, and they should rack up a huge kill count at Shiloh if we get them into the right spot. Might end up shifting officers around, but that's most of it. Let's see, I think we'll just do them with muskets for now. Okay, so he needs a better officer. He'll definitely need a better officer. Okay, so let's start swapping around to see if we can fit it in. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to max this out. We're going to have some leftover money. I don't want to spend it all. I guess I could. I could spend nothing but veterans to get these guys all the way up. Let's see. We need 74. Let's just do this. Okay, so about 600 more once we buy rifles. Need 212 of those. If you're low on money, you can just swap out the 1861s for a slightly worse rifle. You don't need to spend this if you don't want to, but I figure I'll just keep this unit going with them. So do about, sure, we'll do that.
Sir, yes, sir!
And what does it cost us to put them all the way up this way? Pretty big chunks. Be 12K. I don't think I want to do that. It's a pretty big hit. Like, we might be able to get this unit to 3-star if we really pushed it. But I just don't think that's a good investment because I want to broaden my army out more than I want to just make one really strong unit, because no matter how strong this unit is, like even if I get this guy to 3-star at Shiloh, like he's inevitably going to start taking damage, and eventually this is going to get ground down, and it's going to be very hard to keep him alive or keep him in a position where he can really keep contributing. So I'm going to stick to the 2-star, and we'll still decent experience, but we'll get him up later. The other upside to this is it drops the firearms back down. Once the stat caps out, it blocks the officer XP growth from that stat. So if you can keep dropping these back down, the firearm stat's going to be the one that goes up the fastest. So if you keep this down, then you can keep getting officer XP as the rest of the unit stats level.
Sir, yes, sir!
So I'm just going to go with about 5,000. I'm not really sure where I should fall on this in this mod. I did this in the base game for a while, and it worked out all right. Once you get more points in training, this equation changes. But for now, we're just going to do this. Oh, perfect. I'll have to watch it after this battle to make sure that if any casualties... Hopefully we can have the casualties a little lower. So next, we'll do this guy, and I think we're just going to go all the way because it's not too expensive. Okay, let's see. I want to try and fix some rifles. Actually, let's do this. It's probably going to cost us some morale to do it, but I think we're fine with that. You can't tell which one of what the stats are for both of these. I think it's the same. We'll just go with Sherman and hope. Actually, this guy has 166.
Yes, sir.
Sherman's also at 66. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. But I guess the upside here is now we have 2 colonels who we will be able to get enough XP that in the next battle there'll be enough to grant a brand new unit a perk. So let's see, we need someone with better than 66. You're occupied. You're occupied. Okay. You need to go somewhere else. We'll keep taking the efficiency hit. That's fine. Everyone else, I think, is at 66.
Sir, yes, sir.
Alright, that leaves us with 2 lieutenant colonels. That'll be more than enough. We're going to create just regular detached skirmisher unit. Well, not detached, but the replacement thereof. You can see I'm abusing the extra slots slightly, and that I'm not actually doing one detached skirmisher or one skirmisher unit per division. I'm going a little artillery heavy, or other unit heavy in place of it. But the options are there. Play how you like. Okay, infantry gets accuracy. Artillery, this is all going to be ranged artillery, so we're going to go with this. I could potentially start going into a more utility-focused version of artillery, but I think I just want the damage and the range for Shiloh. So we're going to go with that for now, and I'll worry about more complicated setups later. With the skirmishers, you have a couple different options. If you want them to be more survivable, you go with speed. It gets them out of trouble. With the speed bonuses available to other units, if you're going with no speed on your skirmishers and they get spotted, they are likely dead. You'll never get them out, and with the way melee works, they will just die. One option is going with the morale damage, like the accuracy and reload time, but I think that the higher accuracy on snipers at least is more worthwhile. This perk can be really good for like this sort of infantry as you build them up, just because it'll make them a lot more maneuverable, and the 50% cover is actually pretty good, especially if you stack it with Zouave Tactics at a second perk. Then you can be running around with plus 100% cover on skirmishers. You'll be at like 75% cover in open ground. Those units can be extremely powerful. Possibly too good, but they're kind of hard to get going, so I'm not too worried about it. So for now, we're going to go with accuracy. Okay, and I think that's about all we can do. Just checking the command ratings. He's a little low, but nothing we can do about it. Theoretically, we could buy this guy right now and put him in here. I don't think that's worth it. I'll buy him in the next battle. Or actually, wait, no, I probably won't, because I think I'll have to see. I might buy him, but I might just keep the money for the Lorenz. So we're only gonna get 4 more, so it's either take the officer or the Lorenzes, and I think I'm gonna take the Lorenzes because I'm gonna need the guns more than I'm gonna need the officers. Okay, 1841s, that's fine. You can upgrade That would have been the other option, is you could have ditched the officer, taken the Lorenzes now, and given the Lorenzes to these units. It's a slight upgrade. Actually, sure, we'll do the comparison. So, looking at 73 and 42 for multipliers. 73 and 42, so we're basically the same there. 3.38 to 4.5. So, a better low damage, better high damage. So, okay, Lorenz is better. Melee is the same. Okay, so the Lorenz is definitely an upgrade. Probably not worth the cost difference, at least until you get very high levels of econ. So that would be an option, is instead of this extra officer, take the rifles, put the rifles on the 2-star units. This is a pretty significant upgrade from the 1841. But we'll use those, and then you will get Springfield. You don't have a perk. Let's see what I have for round numbers. Because I'm sort of thinking ahead of, I'm going to take losses here. I may or may not capture this type of gun again. I'd like to have even numbers, so I have around 1,000, so I can equip infantry units with them. Though, if it's a little low, that's not the end of the world either. But yeah, I think we'll stick with the reboards. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'll do some renaming, and then we'll go into river crossing. Thanks for watching.